There's a cell that never dies, yet the woman it came from has been gone for 70 years. That cell is still multiplying, splitting again and again. In 70 years, it has produced over 50 million tons of cells, the same weight as 1 billion people combined. It's one of the greatest discoveries in the history of medicine, the HeLa cell. HeLa cells were the first immortal human cells ever discovered. They came from a woman named Henrietta Lacks. In late January 1951, 30-year-old Henrietta noticed a lump in her groin. She was in pain and started bleeding, so she went to Johns Hopkins Hospital, the same one that still makes global headlines today. A gynecologist took a sample of her tumor and sent it to Dr. George Gay's lab. 10 months later, Henrietta died of cancer. To most people, she was just another face in the crowd. Only her family really knew her. Doctors only knew that her cancer cells were incredibly aggressive. A tumor the size of a baseball had nearly replaced one of her kidneys, and tiny white tumors had spread through her organs. But in Dr. Gay's lab, something extraordinary happened. Most cell samples died within days, but Henrietta's cells just kept growing. Gay's assistant, Mary, noticed something unusual, a ring forming at the edge of the blood clot, like the white of a fried egg. That meant the cells were alive and growing, fast. Every 20 to 24 hours, their numbers doubled. As long as they had nutrients in the right environment, they simply wouldn't stop dividing. Mary started transferring them to new test tubes, and they kept filling up. To keep track, she labeled them HeLa, short for Henrietta Lacks, and that's how the first immortal human cell line got its name, HeLa. Dr. Gay went on to create a stable, self-replicating cell line from those samples, and he freely shared them with researchers around the world. He later died of cancer himself, and even tried to make his own cells immortal, but couldn't. So why can HeLa cells live forever? Normal cells can only divide around 56 times, a limit called the Hayflick limit. At the ends of our chromosomes are DNA segments called telomeres. Each time a cell divides, those telomeres get shorter until they disappear, and the cell dies. That's why humans age and eventually die. But HeLa cells mutated into cancer cells, which produce an enzyme called telomerase. Telomerase rebuilds the telomeres over and over again, allowing endless cell division. That's what makes HeLa cells practically immortal. Their immortality changed science forever. They became a global standard, like using meters to measure distance. Researchers everywhere could compare results directly. HeLa cells helped create the first polio vaccine in 1954, when Jonas Salk used them in his research. To test the vaccine, the world's first cell production factory was built at the Tuskegee Institute, where scientists produced 20,000 tubes of HeLa cells. Every week, saving millions of lives. For decades, HeLa cells have been infected with countless viruses, Zika, herpes, mumps, and more, to help develop new drugs and vaccines. They fueled the birth of modern virology. In 1965, researchers fused HeLa cells with mouse embryo cells, paving the way for gene mapping and the Human Genome Project. They've been used to study radiation from atomic bombs, and even sent into space to see how cells grow in zero gravity. HeLa cells have contributed to breakthroughs in fighting Ebola, cancer, and typhoid. More than 65,000 studies have been published about them, and over 300 new ones come out every month. There are 11,000 patents tied to HeLa cells, and 5 Nobel Prizes have come from HeLa-based research. Scientists have grown over 50 million tons of them, enough to fill 100 Empire State Buildings, and still, they're being used to unlock the mystery of human immortality. But because the topic touches on deep ethical questions, it rarely makes the news. Immortality has always been a dream for humankind. Ironically, HeLa cells are cancer, a symbol of death. They took Henrietta Lacks' life, yet in another way, they gave her eternal life, because every single HeLa cell still carries her DNA. It's a beautiful paradox. Life and death, eternity and the instant, the individual and the collective, all bound together in a single story. HeLa cells make us wonder, is this a question for science or for philosophy?